The United States $1 coin, commonly referred to as the 1999 P. Susan B. Anthony SBA dollar, stands as a significant yet often overlooked piece of American numismatic history. This coin represents both the end of an era and the culmination of a unique chapter in U.S. coinage. Featuring the bold inscription, United States of America on the reverse, the word liberty prominently at the top of the obverse, the date 1999, and a small P mint mark below the portrait, indicating it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This coin also bears the discrete initials FG, honoring the reverse designer Frank Gasparo. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was originally introduced in 1979 as the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical woman rather than an allegorical figure like Lady Liberty. Anthony was a leading advocate for women's suffrage, and her inclusion marked a significant cultural milestone. However, the coin's introduction was mired in controversy and misunderstanding. Despite its intent to modernize coinage and promote equality, the SBA dollar was unpopular with the public largely due to its size, being very similar to the quarter, and its unappealing technical aesthetic. It circulated poorly and was largely rejected for daily use. After dismal public reception, the U.S. Mint halted regular production of the coin after 1981, though it had stockpiles that lasted for years. The coin's sudden return in 1999 was not initially part of a broader design strategy, but rather a response to necessity. By the late 1990s, the U.S. Treasury was running low on dollar coins, particularly for use in public transit systems, vending machines, and government disbursements. With the new golden Sacagawea dollar not ready until 2000, the Mint opted to revive the Susan B. Anthony dollar for one final production year. Thus, the 1999 P dollar became the first SBA coin minted in nearly 2 decades, and the only one produced solely for circulation in a single year since 1981. The obverse of the 1999 PSBA dollar showcases a right-facing bust of Susan B. Anthony, designed by U.S. Mint chief engraver Frank Gasparo. Her determined expression and realistic portrayal reflect the seriousness and strength of her legacy. Around her image are 13 stars representing the original colonies, with Liberty inscribed above and the date 1999 below. To the right is the motto, "In God We Trust." The mint mark P is placed just above her shoulder. The reverse is adorned with an image of an eagle landing on the moon, clutching an olive branch, a nod to the Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969. This design was adapted from a mission insignia and emphasizes America's technological achievement, peace, and the universal ideals of liberty. The legend United States of America arcs above, while $1 is featured at the bottom. The initials FG are discreetly visible, standing for Frank Gasparo, who served as the 10th chief engraver of the U.S. Mint from 1965 to 1981. Approximately 29.6 million 1999 PSBA dollars were minted, and while many entered circulation, a substantial number were saved by collectors. This coin was not widely used in everyday transactions, but found functional value in government services and coin-operated machines. Its practical design, however, meant it lacked the distinctiveness that collectors and the public often crave. Nonetheless, its unexpected reissue after nearly 18 years gave a sort of swan song status in the history of U.S. coinage. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1999 P. Susan B. Anthony dollar holds modest value in circulated condition, often being worth little more than face value unless in uncirculated or proof grades. However, it remains a key collectible for those completing full sets of modern U.S. dollars. Its historical context and transitional nature, serving as a bridge between the silver-colored SBA series and the golden Sacagawea dollar, gives it added intrigue. It also represents the final chapter of the Susan B. Anthony coinage, which remains a symbol of feminist progress and the evolution of American currency design. In summary, the 1999 P. Susan B. Anthony $1 coin is more than just a piece of currency. It encapsulates a moment of logistical necessity, a return to a controversial design, and a final tribute to one of America's most significant social reformers. While not beloved in its day, the coin's legacy has matured with time, making it a meaningful artifact in the ever-evolving story of U.S. coinage next top. The 1979 P United States $1 coin marks the debut of the Susan B. Anthony dollar, a bold but controversial chapter in American numismatic history. Authorized by the Public Law in 95 to 447 in 1978 and first minted in 1979, this coin was intended to replace the bulky Eisenhower dollar and promote the use of a smaller-sized dollar coin in everyday commerce. The coin features Susan B. Anthony, a prominent 19th century suffragist, civil rights leader, and staunch advocate for women's rights. This was the first time in U.S. history that a real woman, rather than a symbolic female figure like Liberty, was featured on a circulating U.S. coin, signifying a shift in American cultural values and recognition of women's contributions to the nation. The obverse of the 1979 P dollar showcases a right-facing portrait of Susan B. Anthony, adapted from a 1900 photograph by the engraver Frank Gasparo, whose initials FG appear just below the bust near the neckline. Around the periphery of the coin are the inscriptions Liberty above her head and In God We Trust to the right, while the year 1979 is struck at the bottom, above the portrait. A circle of 13 five-pointed stars represents the original 13 colonies, emphasizing the coin's connection to the foundational ideals of American democracy. The mint mark P, denoting the Philadelphia Mint, appears just above Anthony's shoulder and is significant because it was the first time the Philadelphia Mint consistently included a mint mark on a circulating dollar coin. The reverse of the coin carries over the Eisenhower dollar's Apollo 11 commemorative design, also by Frank Gasparo. It depicts a bald eagle landing on the moon, its wings outstretched and an olive branch in its talons, symbolizing peace through strength. The Earth is shown in the background, representing global unity and America's achievements in space exploration. Encircling the image are the inscriptions United States of America, e pluribus unum, out of many one, and the coin's denomination $1. This reverse design directly connects the coin to the national pride felt after the Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969 and emphasizes America's pioneering spirit. While innovative in its symbolism and compact size, 26.5 millimeters in diameter and composed of copper-nickel clad over a pure copper core, the Susan B. Anthony dollar faced widespread criticism almost immediately after its release. The coin's diameter and silvery color made it easily confused with the quarter, leading to frustration among the public and businesses. Although it was heavily promoted, especially for use in mass transit systems and vending machines, public rejection caused the coin to circulate poorly. As a result, production was significantly curtailed in later years, and the dollar coin was eventually replaced in 2000 by the golden-colored Sacagawea dollar. The 1979 P dollar coin was struck in large quantities, over 360 million coins at the Philadelphia Mint alone, so it remains highly common in both circulated and uncirculated condition. However, collectors often look for die varieties. A particular note in the 1979 series is the distinction between narrow rim, far date, and wide rim, near date, varieties on the obverse, referring to how close the rim comes to the date. The wide rim variety, also called the near date, is rarer and more valuable, especially in higher grades. Though both varieties were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the wide rim was primarily used later in the production year, and collectors today seek out these pieces as a premium variety of the 1979 P issue. Though the Susan B. Anthony dollar was initially deemed a failure in circulation, the coin has grown in historical and cultural value. It reflects a moment in time when the U.S. Mint attempted to modernize coinage and make a powerful statement about inclusion and recognition of women's contributions to American society. It also highlights the limitations of policy when public perception and practicality are not fully aligned. Today, the 1979 P dollar serves as both a collectible and a piece of numismatic history, marking the beginning of a new era for U.S. coinage and a complex path of the small-sized dollar in the American economy. Collectors interested in the 1979 P Susan B. Anthony dollar look for clean strikes, full details on Susan B. Anthony's hair and the eagle's feathers, and minimal contact marks. In uncirculated condition, particularly in mint state 65 or higher, these coins hold modest value. The proof versions, struck in San Francisco and marked with an S, were sold in proof sets and not intended for circulation. The The regular 1979p issue, however, remains accessible to collectors of all levels, offering a meaningful link between numismatics, history, and the broader story of social progress in the United States next top. The 1980 United States of America $1 coin, bearing the inscriptions Liberty, 1980p, and the designer's initials FG, Frank Gasparo, represents an important artifact in the evolution of American coinage in the late 20th century. This coin is part of the Susan B. Anthony Dollar series, introduced in 1979 and continuing through 1981, with a final issue in 1999. The coin is composed of copper nickel clad and weighs 8.1 grams, with a 26.5 millimeters diameter and a reeded edge. The obverse front of the coin features a detailed and determined portrait of Susan B. Anthony, the pioneering women's suffrage leader, making this the first U.S. circulating coin to honor a real woman, as opposed to allegorical figures such as Lady Liberty. The word Liberty arcs across the top of the coin, while the date 1980 is inscribed at the bottom. The mint mark P, indicating the Philadelphia Mint, is found just above Anthony's shoulder. The initials FG, for Frank Gasparo, who served as the 10th chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, are visible below her neck, marking his role in designing both the obverse and reverse of the coin. The reverse of the coin carries over the Apollo 11 mission insignia, depicting an eagle landing on the moon, its wings spread wide, clutching an olive branch in its talons, with the Earth visible in the background. This design was originally created for the Eisenhower dollar and was retained for the Susan B. Anthony series to honor America's achievements in space exploration. The inscription United States of America curves across the top, while the denomination $1 appears at the bottom. The phrase e pluribus unum, Latin for out of many one, is also prominently featured. The choice of retaining the space-themed reverse was intended to inspire national pride and connect past presidential legacies with modern achievements. The 1980 P. Susan B. Anthony Dollar is notable for being part of the second year of issue. After the 1979 release, the Mint responded to public feedback that the coin was too easily confused with a quarter due to its similar size and color. Unfortunately, no significant redesign was made in 1980 to address this confusion, and public resistance to using the coin in everyday transactions persisted. Although intended to reduce costs associated with printing paper dollar bills, which were out faster, the coin never gained widespread circulation. Many people disliked the small size and the similarity to other denominations, which led to it being used mostly in transit systems, vending machines, and military bases. As a result, large quantities of the coins remained in use in government storage for years. From a mintage perspective, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 27 million Susan B. Anthony dollars in 1980, making the 1980 PA common issue, though collectible examples in mint state, especially those graded MS-66 and higher, are scarcer and can command higher values among numismatists. The coin's affordability makes it accessible to beginning collectors, and its historical significance as a symbol of women's rights and technological progress makes it a meaningful piece for anyone interested in modern American history. Over time, while it may not have succeeded in commerce, it has gained appreciation for what it represents: a bold attempt at modernization, a tribute to civil rights activism, and a reminder of the United States' ambitious spirit in both social and scientific domains. As a circulating coin that inadvertently became a limited-use relic, the 1980 Susan B. Anthony Dollar offers a compelling glimpse into the complex relationship between monetary policy, public sentiment, and national identity.